Do you feel as if there's not enough time in the day? Mastering your calendar is going to be essential for you to grow your business so that you're having productive days and you're having the time that you need to be able to make more money and service your clients. Welcome back to the Hustle Free Entrepreneur Podcast. Hi, my name is Jessie, and I am super excited about this conversation for you today. Calendar mastery has been something that I have fully embraced since college years. To be very honest with you, I don't know how I was able to work a full-time job, a part-time job. I was in school full-time as well, and then I also play sports. I truly had to learn the power of schedule blocking and really taking control of my calendar, which really prepared me for wearing all of the hats as a business owner. So I'm sure you too feel as if, wow, I am having to do marketing, accounting, I'm having to service my clients, I'm customer service. You're wearing all of these hats each and every day. And so you're in this position now of like, how do I get to the next level and get everything that needs to get done at the level of excellence in which I need to have it executed? So in today's episode, I really want to share with you why it's important to master your calendar. They say in a statistic that 80% of small business owners say time management is their biggest challenge when growing their business. That statistic speaks large volumes because it feels like that statistic is screaming at us that something needs to change. And most importantly, you're looking for a change because if you're listening to this episode, it's because you know that something needs to change. I want to give you some realistic things to think about inside of your business so that you can feel more in control of your calendar. And I really want to be able to make sure that you are aware I have a free resource that I'll make sure to have in the description of this episode that will help you with thinking about your goals for this year and how to manage your calendar in an effective way. So the reality of a solopreneur calendar, you're probably having some of these common struggles where you feel like you're wearing too many hats. Some days you're a planner, you're the marketer, you're the salesperson, you're the admin, or you're the content creator, just like how I am right now. And you also can feel very overwhelmed by client requests and deadlines. And depending on what you're using for your systems to keep everything organized, that can also just be exacerbating the fact that you have all these requests coming through and you don't know what needs to happen next because nothing is truly organized. And then you also can be finding yourself in a reactive state with scheduling instead of a proactive planning position. These terms are really not big terms, but they are realities. And a reactive state is that someone called me right now, so I got to stop what I'm doing to take this phone call, compared to having specific times of the day where you're able to allow for people to schedule time to talk. Or you just don't take that phone call, but you make sure you return that phone call back in a timely manner. Some of my friends and family members, they tease me because I don't always answer my phone. To be very honest with you, most of the time I'm looking at my phone to see who's calling and then I'm just letting it go to voicemail. You may think that that's rude, but in reality, I have a lot of things that I'm planning and jumping around from task to task, all in a small time period. It's not effective and it's not going to help with my productivity. In reality, what happens is then you have 20 tabs open up in your brain instead of you being in the one tab and you're doing the things that you said you're going to do, and then you close that tab and you open up another one. So you do want to be present to the fact that a proactive planning approach may be a shift for you, but it's going to be great for the growth that you're needing and you're wanting inside of your business. I remember in the beginning years of starting my event business, I had to think to myself when I was super anxious, I felt super stressed because I wasn't using a CRM and I had all of these requests and I was super ambitious about where I wanted the company to go and how much money I wanted it to make and all of these great goals. But then I realized If I can't handle the load I have right now without feeling anxious, how can I get to the next level without having the structure that I needed? Statistics show that business owners spend 68.1% of their time on day-to-day tasks, leaving less than 31% for strategic growth. So what happens is that you find yourself busy, but you're not doing things to really move your business forward. You can sometimes find yourself in a position of maintaining. And that's something I had to learn very quickly inside of my 15 years of business, is that there's a difference between being busy and a difference between growing. So if I don't make the time to actually plan for the growth and to have a structure to support the growth, what will happen is that year after year, everything will remain the same. And I don't want that for you. So the first thing you want to do when it comes to mastering your calendar is that you want to design a high impact weekly calendar, which at the core of it is a time blocking mixed with a date specific task. So let me explain to you. So the first thing about this is thinking about themed work days, where specific days you're doing specific activities. Mondays for me, I do not usually allow for people to schedule any appointments or consultations or anything of that nature with me, because that is an administrative day. So what I like to do is not allow for that time to be open, and things that I need to be able to deep dive into, that's when I'm going to do those items. That helps me prepare for the upcoming week. So you can have Mondays are for marketing, Tuesdays are for client calls, Wednesdays are when you're doing your planning or getting things ready for your weekend. I have inside of my company 2 days a week where I do my client calls or my sales calls. And those are Tuesdays and Thursdays. And that's what's worked well for me. I'm not going to lie, when I first came up with that practice, it's probably been 10 years now, I was kind of nervous about it. However, I realized that if I always followed up on when I said I'm going to reach out to people, I put out auto response emails when people message me saying I'll respond back in 24 hours. And my goal is to always respond back to them before the 24 hours, that people will respect the fact that I am going to respond back without having to email me, text me, call me to email me again. Very few times is someone going to do that. And the only time they're going to do that is when it's an urgent matter. By doing themed days, it allows for you to batch tasks and reduce content switching. I remember a seminar I went to years and years ago, and the gentleman has said the great thing about people is that they have the ability to multitask. The bad thing about people is that they multitask, because what happens is that it takes longer to do a bunch of things at one time compared to batching tasks at one moment and just knocking them out. So for example, think about how you can dedicate time blocks for emails. So instead of answering emails all day long, set 2 to 3 dedicated time blocks. And one of the things that I would recommend is remove some of the email features inside of your cell phone. I have limited notifications to help break me out of this reactive response, so that I am intentional when I'm doing something. And so you can also look at doing time blocking for deep work. Block 90 minutes for high priority tasks. High priority tasks will vary from business to business. However, a high priority task may be doing some specific proposals for a client. Or you might have it that you're doing some type of marketing. Inside of my business, a high priority time block would be creating a proposal that's going to go out to several corporate clients for a specific type of service. It's best for me to have that 90 minutes to focus and get it all done, because now I can send it to the client instead of taking calls, doing everything else, following up with vendors. Again, it's more intentional use of my time. And there's a statistic that says that deep work increases productivity by 40% compared to multitasking. I know it can be a humble brag to say I can do all these things at one time, but here's the thing I challenge you to think about: how well are you doing those things all at one time? And how long is it taking you to complete those things? So the second step that you want to do is that after you design your high impact weekly calendar by having themed days and time blocking, is that you want to look at how you can automate or delegate these tasks. There are some things that you can think about is how do you outsource non-revenue generating tasks? The reason why you want it to be non-revenue generating is because I find that depending where someone is in their business, where you have the ability to pay someone. However, you want it to be that you pay someone well, but you can't have someone full time. You don't want your business success to be on the back of someone else. I've had some people that wanted to hire someone for revenue generating tasks, doing sales calls. And believe me, I have been that person before. But the thing is that while they're getting into the rhythm of producing revenue, you have to now float that person for at least 3 months until they can start producing an adequate result that covers their salary. So you do want to look at non-revenue generating tasks that you can outsource. So maybe that can be someone that's editing your videos or editing your reels or doing your social media posts or sending out emails to clients. Those are non-revenue generating. But sales calls or doing pitches and things like that, that may not make sense depending on where you are in your business. So some of the things that you can think about outsourcing is by using platforms like HoneyBook, ClickUp, Asana, or ConvertKit to help with automating specific tasks inside of your business. ConvertKit is my favorite platform right now for email marketing. I use Asana for project management to help me stay on task with my specific tasks within the marketing part of my business. And then HoneyBook, of course, I use that for my client retention, my client management system. They say that businesses that automate repetitive tasks save an average of 30% of their time compared to those that are not using technology or finding ways to do the same things in a repetitive standpoint so that they're able to scale. Once you do identify what these tasks are, you can also think to yourself, do I need to hire a virtual assistant or some contractor to help me with doing some of my services? And you may be wondering, when is the right time? I think that the right time is going to be one, when you're consistent with inside of your business, because you want it to be, again, that if you're paying someone for a non-revenue generating service, you want to make sure that you can afford to pay them consistently. And then two, you want to make sure that you have enough buffer for you to pay yourself so that you are not going to feel so tight about making this decision. For myself, I've had a virtual assistant that's worked with me now since 2018. I did have, before my virtual assistant, I had interns that worked with me and I did pay them a stipend as well. I think it's very important for business owners to find ways in the beginning to have someone support you on a consistent manner, even if it's on an intern paid stipend, or you can find someone to assist you on platforms like Fiverr or Upwork. But here's the thing, I'm not talking about hiring someone 40 hours a week. It can start off with 5 hours a week or 10 hours a week. Start small and then also look for repeatable tasks that will help you get some of your time back. It can be everything from invoices, email responses, social media, and some marketing things. And the key is remembering, if you find someone, that 5 hours that you're getting back are not 5 hours to watch Netflix. It's 5 hours for you to do the things inside of your business that you aren't currently able to do to bring in the revenue to cover hiring that individual. And that's something I had to learn too. The third step is mastering your event planning timelines. So this can be reverse engineering your event deadlines and start with the event day and working backwards. I always talk to people as a HoneyBook Pro to think to themselves, yes, every event's going to be different per se, but what are the things that you can have in your workflow that allows for certain steps to happen regardless of the type of event that someone's hosting with you? So it allows for you to think about, How do you reverse engineer your event day deadlines? Start with the event day and to work backwards. It really will help with being able to, one, eventually have people that are working with you, and then two, it allows for you to rinse and repeat how you're doing your services, despite that there's going to be differences in themes and what the clients are wanting. This is where you will want to use platforms again like Honeybook with automations or Asana. Those are great platforms to do project management in. And the thing is that you want to set realistic buffer times and avoid last minute stress. Because when you're stressed, you're probably passing that on to your clients, and then you're going to pass that on to other vendors that are a part of your services, and most importantly, the people that you love and care for that are in your day-to-day life. You don't want to be deflecting because you're stressed inside of your business because you haven't created timelines or the structure to help you with being able to run your business. They say that 43% of business owners underestimate the time needed to complete tasks, which ultimately leads to burnout. I remember seeing this during the pandemic specifically, where I kept seeing all these videos about burnout, because people wanted to go, but they weren't allowing themselves times to actually complete the things they needed, or to get sleep, or do the things that are going to refill their cup. So take the time to create your timelines, to create your processes and workflows so that you can start to manage and control your time. The fourth step is going to be a big one for some of you, and that's called setting boundaries with your clients. And this one can be hard, especially in the beginning, where you now allow people to text you at 12 o'clock at night and things, or call you on all days and times of the day. I applaud those of you that do that. That is not me. So you do want to define hours and stick to them. I think that there's this thought that if you're not available at all times, then you're not serious about your business. That is not true, because I'm sure that regular people don't just get in contact with top CEOs of other companies. They have specific people at specific times, and then they have times that people are just not reaching out to them because they're with family, they're sleeping, and things like that. And again, you don't want to start something now that when your business continues to grow and get bigger, that you just are not able to uphold. It's better to implement these things now and stick to them and be consistent, and people know them, compared to trying to break people out of bad habits. So by defining your office hours, you can use autoresponders to emails or texts that are outside of those business hours, and then train your clients to respect the communication boundaries. Specifically, I find the common thing is on text messages or no DMs for doing business. And this is super important for business owners. The reason why is because things fall through the cracks. Let's be honest. Like, that's the main reason why I don't like people texting me about anything business related. I do like everything to go through email, because what happens if I open that message, now I have to remember that you messaged me, or someone DMs. Sometimes I won't see the notification, and then things fall through the cracks. So the best thing to do is, whatever your hours are going to be, share them, communicate them. This is a part of the onboarding process, so people know what to expect with working with you, and most people will respect it. And if you can tell someone is not one for respecting your boundaries before they pay you, then you will need to start ignoring those red flags. And if you're like, I need every client right now, I highly recommend looking at ways to improve the messaging to attract the kind of clients you want, or figuring out how do you attract more people so that you don't have to deal with customers you don't want to work with. And here's the thing, that I have never had an experience where I worked with someone that I had a red flag, that the red flag turned into a green flag by the end. Most of the time, someone that you're like, I don't think I should really be working with this person, usually by the end, I'm still like, oh, I probably shouldn't have worked with that person. So stop forcing business with people that you should not be doing business with. And the thing is that most business owners are experiencing some form of burnout due to their lack of boundaries, because they're making themselves super accessible to every and each person in ways that just are not feasible or organized. You can set boundaries and still be professional. It all comes down how you're communicating it inside of your workflow with your customers, and then how are you correcting it, again, in a professional manner. Most people will respect what is communicated. The fifth step is that you want to review and adjust your calendar weekly. The thing is that week after week, there may be some things that are going to shift. However, you do still want to set yourself up with a blueprint. So pick one day out of a week that's going to be your check-in day. It's shown that it's best to do those on Sundays or Mondays and take the time to review the previous week and then make adjustments for the upcoming week. You don't want to just continue to go week into week without taking time to review what worked and what did not work, because you can be ultimately creating your own long suffering inside of your services and what you're wanting to do inside of your business. So by taking that time, you'll be able to find out what is working, what's draining your time, and then having the ability to adjust accordingly. And the best thing to do is to use the 80-20 rule. Focus on the 20% of the tasks that bring you 80% of the results, because we don't want to be busy just to be busy. We want to be productive so that we're able to grow. So let's take a moment to just recap these 5 productivity hacks that are intended to help you with growing your business. The first thing is you want to design a themed work week that allows for you to focus on specific tasks on specific days, and also using time blocking so that you are not just letting day after day go by and you're spending most of your time doing the day-to-day and never taking the time to do the strategies inside of your business. The second thing you want to do is make sure you can find ways to automate or delegate tasks so that you're able to reclaim the time in your schedule to be able to run your business instead of it running you. The third thing is that you want to use event planning timelines wisely. Even though the themes or the reason for the events may be different, how you're executing them can be the same. The fourth thing is that you want to set clear client boundaries so that you're able to break out of the habit of being reactive to your client needs and actually being proactive, because we've thought through our workflows, we've created timelines to help us with being able to go ahead of our clients so that we're communicating when we need things instead of them feeling the need to almost harass us due to poor communication. The fifth thing is just, again, review and adjust weekly. Don't feel so bad that you think that every week has to be the same. Find ways to make it an optimized week so that you can grow the business that you're desiring. I hope that this episode has been helpful for you. And again, take the time to click on the free resource that I have in the show notes so that you're able to make sure to take advantage of the free resource that I have in the show notes that are intended to help you with setting your goals and creating a plan for success in your business. All right, talk to you later. Peace.